Hi, everybody. How you doing? Welcome to Squares of the Round Table. I'm Divan Ivan. There's Jeff. There's Mike.
Yep.
And here we are once again.
Here we are. One more week closer to the end of 2020.
Do we really think that's going to make a difference?
Yeah.
Why?
Just 2021 is going to be better. Because
what makes us so sure
it's
of that?
It's all uphill from here.
That's what I like to think. That's what I want to think.
It's all uphill from here. That's not good. That means we're still got problems.
Oh, I mean all downhill.
See, I don't think we are all downhill. I think it's going to get. I shouldn't say this. I think it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better.
Well, I look at it from this point of view. Okay, at least there's some steps going towards something that resembles an actual democracy. So, put it this way.
Oh, I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying in general.
No, but I'm saying, no, I'm not going to celebrate New Year's on the 1st. I'm going to celebrate New Year's on the 20th, man, and I'm going to take it from there.
I'm not. Look, I'm thrilled about that, but at the same time, I'm not ready to.
Well,
that's just because. Yeah, well, it's like
I know. Look, it's the fear of the unknown, like Mike always tells me.
I do.
It's the fear of the unknown. Yeah, you do. You've told me lots of times.
Okay.
I mean,
that's where no man has gone before, Mike.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
No one. It's the not just man.
Is it one singular sensation?
Man.
Bam, bam.
My
Bam.
goodness, so much.
Black
much
Betty, Bam Lamb.
God, what have I done? Excuse me.
No, what's for dinner, Ivan?
I'm having pork chops.
Oh, all right.
With applesauce or without?
Without applesauce. Cranberry sauce.
You gotta,
the Brady's would be upset.
No, yeah, pork chops without applesauce.
Pork chops and applesauce.
Yeah, they go together like pork chops and applesauce.
Like hand in a glove. Like,
Unless you're Jewish. Then they don't go together at all.
You're right about that.
Unless there's bacon. Then it's all good. With cheese. And mayo.
Well, there we go.
And then I gotta explain myself at the end of the day to God.
Stocked up on breakfast meat last week. I just go into the grocery store and just get breakfast meat like Ron Swanson. Just get like sausage patties and a pound and a half of bacon. They got like mega packs now, which is like more than 1 pound. I like those.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Bacon.
Mm-hmm. Bacon.
Wasn't there supposed to be a bacon shortage at one point this year?
That might have been one of our square stories.
Yeah.
Was it? I think there was supposed to have been a bacon shortage at some point.
No,
I feel like I missed it.
Alleged bacon shortage, because I haven't heard anything from it other than that story.
Just like the murder hornets.
Yeah, or the Godzilla wasps and
so
many prophecies that did not come through. So we're thankful for that, I guess.
Yeah. Although there was a crap load of hurricanes, right?
Not another case of Y2K, you know?
Yeah. I remember working for a telecom company in 1998. And it was 99, actually. Early 99, late 98. And trying to cash in on the Y2K scare to get like companies in the city to buy new phones because of Y2K. But he had like no substantiated like claims. Like, because in 99, people thought, like, elevators were going to stop working and planes were going to fall out of the air and everyone's bank account was going to get deleted.
That everybody's personal history was going to get wiped out.
Well, sometimes that's a good thing.
I was going to say, can we make sure that happens in all the banks,
delete your
please?
browser history. That's
right. I was thinking about student loans and all kinds of things.
I was thinking about, like, my credit score, man.
Yeah, that too.
They can delete my credit score. I'd be in the green. My credit is shit.
God.
So, how are we doing, boys? How was your week, Jeff?
Kind of crazy. I had a lot going on with clients and
like
I had a lot going on with some people getting ready for holiday stuff and waiting till the last minute and going, hey, can we do this like at warp speed Mr. Sulu, and being like, okay, we'll see what we can do.
I learned that phrase in broadcasting school. I'll see what I can do. It's like, because when you're the intern and someone requests a song,
I'll see what I can do.
At the remote site, you'll be like, I'll see what I can do.
Well, it's funny when you said about Y2K. I remember working. So we had a show that was paying good money. They were on twice a day on WNDZ. And it was one of those guys who was all about like the rare metals and all that stuff.
Like precious metals, like stocking up on gold and silver.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Silver and gold.
You know, and buying, buying these rare gold coins and all this stuff so you'll have it. And like for a year, all he'd talk about was like acting like Chicken Little, like the sky is gonna fall out with the Y2K thing. And literally like every single day was talking about how, you know, you gotta make sure you're prepared and you gotta have food and you gotta have all this stuff.
Oh, he was a prepper?
Go crazy. I'm sorry?
Was he a prepper?
Yeah, like he was
like
talking about people having. Yeah, well, it's funny because it's like it does have kind of that feel to it, does it? But it was funny because so I just so happened to be on the radio station the day, because I think New Year's was a weekend that year, and then on Monday I just happened to be running his shift. You know, and obviously nothing happens.
Right.
So the guy goes to start his show and just starts talking about stuff. And I'm like, is he going to acknowledge that nothing fucking happened and you've been spending a year hawking all kinds of shit to get people to buy your gold and there was nothing that fucking happened?
January 1st, 2000 was Saturday.
Right, and on the Monday when I went into work to go run work, I swear that guy was literally like as if he hadn't been saying, I haven't been like screaming that the sky is gonna fall.
Ignore everything I've said until now.
Right, it just kept going, and it was like, wow, holy cow, how do you? I'm like, and the funniest part was he had people calling up and still like buying into his shit, and I'm like, man, I don't know how he does it. That's
snake oil salesman.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. I was like, wow.
So you've been busy with clients and finishing year-end sales and stuff.
Clients and, just trying to put together, I'm in the process of putting together some of my new ideas for my business in terms of storytelling and presentation work. And, I got honored by District 30 Toastmasters over the weekend.
Congratulations!
I don't know exactly what that means yet.
What do I win?
I think I get like a bottle stopper or some really nice like wine stopper or something like that.
Corkscrew.
Yeah, well, no, it's not corkscrew. It's like a wine stopper. There's a difference between a corkscrew and a wine stopper. Stop it.
Right, one opens it, the other one closes it.
Right, well. It'll go really well with that bottle of brandy I've been holding for 2 years that I got from one of my speaking gigs that literally, like, instead of paying me, they gave me $60 bottle of brandy, which, in fairness, if every speaking gig I ever did ended up with me getting a $60 bottle of brandy, I think I might be okay, because I could probably sell that shit on eBay and then be okay. But, since it doesn't work that way, I saw a really horrible movie, by the way.
Okay.
A really horrible movie. I watched. Go ahead.
What was it?
It was that super intelligence movie on HBO Max that they were like putting out trailers for during like Thanksgiving night. That thing was bad.
Who's in it?
I mean, it's Melissa McCarthy and James Coburn and. I can't remember the other guy's name. I've seen him in a bunch of stuff. It's the guy who plays, God, I can't believe I'll say it this way. It's the guy who plays the stepfather, in Ant-Man. Who's married to Scott Lang's wife.
You're right, okay. The cop.
The cop guy.
Right.
The cop guy who goes, and there's a tank. That guy.
Okay.
That guy. He's in it.
What's it about?
It's about like this super, like somehow this super intelligence comes to life and like it decides to use Melissa McCarthy to test like if it should help humanity, if it should enslave humanity, or blow up humanity.
Okay.
And in the beginning, it's kind of funny, and then after a while, it just starts to get less funny and more kind of like, okay, this isn't really funny anymore, and I don't know what the hell's going on here.
Was it just getting preachy or cringy, or what was it doing?
Or creepy, or a little too, and then it's like, okay, and the ending was just not very good either. It was like, it was almost like the writers ran out of shit to do and figure out how to end the goddamn movie. And I'm like, oh my god, I want 2 hours of my life back, please.
That's too bad.
Yeah, I would honestly give it one yeah man.
Only one.
And I'm being generous. Whoa. I really want to give it none.
Would you say it was probably the worst movie of the year for you?
Oh yeah, without question.
That's too bad.
I did get a palate cleanse. I watched the first 4 episodes of Young Justice season 3 because it's on HBO Max, and gotta tell you, Mike, that show is the closest thing that DC does in TV and movies to anything you get in the comics.
Yeah, like the DC animated films have often diverged from the source material, but they're still good entertainment.
But I mean, like,
but Young Justice is pretty close to the comics as the story.
Right?
Goes.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there where they really find ways to kind of stick close to the source material, and do things. I mean, there's some things that aren't source material, but it's really it's the only show I've seen, and I'll include like all the Bruce Timm stuff. Okay, it's the only show I've seen of any of them that I'm really like, okay, this is like as if I was reading a real comic book. You know, they have those characters, and they don't have to worry about how to explain that there's 3 Robins and, you know, all that kind of stuff.
And
they don't worry about any of that. That's all. And
did you look and see if the writers have like backgrounds in comics, or?
I haven't looked. That's a really good question. I mean, the interesting part is, keep in mind, that show was like dead. And when I say dead, I mean like.
And then there was a campaign to bring it back, and then it came back.
Well, no, what the most amusing part of all is, this is the best part. The best part is, it was so popular on Netflix. Netflix went to DC and said, can we have a season 3? And we're willing to pay for it. And it was supposed to go to Netflix, and then DC Universe happened, and then they basically produced it for themselves.
Did they take Netflix's money?
I don't think they took Netflix's money, but literally it's like, oh, there's that much interest, huh? Oh, great, we'll make it our own and put it on our own streaming service.
And now Young Justice is no longer available on Netflix, obviously, because the WB and DC, they made their own platform with blackjack and hookers, so.
Well, I think they're
Thanks for the idea.
Yeah.
Oh man,
but it's good. That's what counts.
But like I said, I'm only through the first 4 episodes, and there's a lot of episodes in season 3. The thing that's really kind of amazing about it is the episodes are only like 23 minutes long. So it's like you can really kind of like get into a groove watching them. And it's worthwhile. Like, it's funny, season 3, it's funny, they call it Young Justice Outsiders, and apparently, you know, they're taking some liberties, but it looks like they're gonna form what's known as the Outsiders, which is a long-running group that's part of the DC universe, and been around. And it's funny, they made some tweaks, like they changed Halo's background and origin, but they're gonna have her, and you know, they have Geoforce, and I'm very curious to see what they're going to do, because it looks like, you know, they might, you know, it's going to be very interesting, because they might bring in Geoforce's brother, which is Tara Markov, which it would be really interesting, and I haven't gotten this far in it, if they could figure out a way to do Judah's contract in Young Justice, because I think they'd do it better than the actual Judah's contract movie that was done. But like I said, I thought I'm looking forward to watching a little bit more of Young Justice. It's been out a little bit, but it's a high recommend for me.
Yeah, and you said that it's there's no talking down to the audience. I mean, you know who this person is, you know who this character is, you know where this character came from. There's good dialogue, character beats, and all that, and of course there's pow wham action to go with it.
Yeah,
always.
I mean, there's good story too. Oh, I mean, even the ones where there isn't pow wham, there's good story, and it doesn't feel like it's like drawn out. It doesn't feel like it's not interesting. Mm-hmm. They seem to be able to have figured out how to do it.
Sounds like it was written by comic writers.
Yeah, well, I'm sure some of them might be.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I like I said,
cool.
I mean, to give perspective, I mean, there's characters in there that are, the best way to put it is, so, your Supermans, your Batmans, and your Wonder Womans are kind of like your Generation 1.
Right.
And then you've got your Nightwings, you've got your Donna Troys, your Roy Harpers, your Wally Wests, those individuals. And that's kind of like Generation 2. Mm-hmm. And most people, like most shows that they have, you're not going to get to the Generation 3 and 4 characters. Young Justice gets there. Young Justice gets to like those Generation 3 and Generation 4 characters, which normally you don't see.
Yeah, it fleshes out the lesser-known heroes, just like how Justice League Unlimited did.
Well, and it goes beyond Justice League Unlimited. Like, for example, like, you have Nightwing, and you have Robin, and Robin's Tim Drake right now. Huh. You have Superboy, but it's the Superboy, it's Superboy as in Superboy, like, from back when Doomsday, the clone Superboy. You've got the Martian Manhunter. You have I want to say there's the girl. I can't remember what her name is.
I forget the relationship between
right. But you get there's a lot of those characters where like it was funny. There was one episode that they did, and it was funny. It was the only episode where I was like, okay, it's kind of an aside to what's going on. Where they brought in all the members of the Harper family. They had Roy, they had I don't know who they had as Speedy, but it was but the guy who plays Guardian, who's Guardian, they had all three of them, like, together with, like, Dick Grayson, and it was hysterical. But you wouldn't get that in, the Justice League Unlimited series. They wouldn't go that deep or that far. So, I mean, to me, like I said, it's, and it's funny, they've had some interesting twists. Like, I guess in this version, Zatanna's father, Zatara, is Dr. Fate, which is interesting, because that's the first time I've ever seen that.
It makes sense because they're both about the magic, so.
Right, but that's an interesting twist because, like I said, that hasn't been the case. That hasn't been the case before.
Right, just like in X-Men Evolution, where Nightcrawler was the son of Mystique.
Yeah. They've tried to tease that at times in the comics, and it hasn't gone very far, but, or they've tried to do the rewrite a few times like that, and I gotta be honest, X-Men comics, the best way I can put X-Men comics is this. Every so often, I would try to do X-Men, and what would happen is, I would not get to the comic book store on Wednesday, and they would be sold out of, one or two books. And I'd come back 3 books later.
And you don't know what's going on, right?
I have no fucking clue. Not one.
Well, then you just got to wait for the trade.
Well, at the time there wasn't exactly waiting for the trade. I mean, this is the 90s.
Yeah, they weren't into. This was still
right, and we hadn't gotten that far yet.
trade paperbacks are everywhere and omnipresent and omnibus.
Now it's a little easier, but I mean, the last time I think I read X-Men, the last time I think I read X-Men was when they had an entirely new series that they started because Joss Whedon was writing it.
Oh.
And that was really good.
Okay.
That was really good.
Okay, so Young Justice is good.
Yeah, like I said, obviously I'm late to the party on it. That's been out for a little while, but I'm trying to think of anything else over the weekend other than
watching the other shows.
Other than watching the Bears be truly incompetent, but you know.
Hey, I spent the whole day Sunday decorating, and I took a break. I'm like, hey Siri, how are the Bears doing? And they're like, oops, dang it. Yeah, that set off my phone. But I asked Siri, because I can't say those two words together, how the Bears were doing, and it was like, oh, they're up 10 points at halftime. Oh, cool. And like 2 hours later, I'm like, I forgot to see who won. So I'm like, hey there. And the phone told me that they lost. Look at those idiots.
I mean, literally, it was really bad. I mean, it was ugly. Yeah. It's going to get ugly here at the end of the season, but hey.
Ivan, how was your week? Your 2 weeks? You've been spinning? You just been spinning?
Just spinning. I did a thing called Music from Lover's Lane on Friday, which, you know, I was at a literal boxing match with Facebook, and my phone, which wouldn't stay charged, just the content of the show just kind of burned things up. Burning up the internet on Friday. And then Sunday I did the spectacular Sunday sessions that I do at Spinning Wheel. I did all Christmas tunes, and you know, I just kind of did like a couple of hours, and that was very sparse in what I put on that show because I wanted to save the vast majority of the juicy stuff for the release of the the Twitch stream that I'm going to do, Twitch TV stream of the best Christmas songs you've ever heard, and that's when I'll unveil the It's a Wonderful Weave and Batman and Jimmy Save Christmas within the framework of the show.
Yeah, we'll post that to the Squares page as we get close to the holiday.
Yeah, so get that all together. I'll have it available on SoundCloud for anybody who wants to get the whole Twitch thing on SoundCloud. I'll be recording it.
Okay.
I'll be recording it to 7.5-inch reel, which will be high definition fidelity. And then afterwards, let's see. After the fact, after this airs, probably by the time this airs on Wednesday, I would have already done the Nonstop 60s, which I'm also doing on Tuesday for Spinning Wheel. Spending a lot of time over there at that Spinning Wheel. And
you must pay tribute to your adoring fans.
No, I mean they're appreciative. They're very appreciative people.
Yeah, that's great.
So, like on the Lover's Lane, what artists?
Just
no, I don't. That's why I'm asking.
Okay, I'll tell you. So, I went ahead and I ventured into like the Sam Cooks. I ventured into I ventured into the Fifth Dimension. Ventured into Chuck Jackson, Otis Redding. Let's see, Isaac Hayes. Did let me see, the Majestics. Did Timmy Euro. I mean, I kind of did a little bit of it was 60s heavy and then just a little bit 70s heavy towards the early part of the 70s. So it was like it went from like soul to funk.
Barry White?
Yeah, Barry White.
Isaac Hayes is like Barry White, sort of.
Yeah,
kind of, sort of.
Isaac Hayes, Isaac Hayes is his own enigma, whereas Barry White, he creates that whole scenario, being the virile, sexy black man, yes. And, whereas...
He's got Chef's chocolate salty balls, too.
Hello, children.
Hi, Chef. But as far as that was concerned, yeah, it turned out well. Like I said, had it not been for Facebook every almost every 6-7 minutes, knocking me down. And then finally what I did was, I had recorded it to reel. So it was in one piece on the reel to reel. So I went ahead, I did the editing on SoundCloud, and then I also added an extra hour of unaired sides, which really get into the boom chaka wah genre of music there, Rufus and Chaka Khan and, a number of all those people, and the deep down funky, stuff from that camp. So yeah, it starts off innocently enough, but then once you get into the third hour, it just really turns around and changes into an entirely different groove. You know what? You're just hanging at the pad, baby. Yeah, come on down.
Isn't it bad that, all my thoughts on Chaka Khan is that one song from the 80s, the one that goes, Chaka Khan.
I just think of the Whitney Houston song, I'm Every Woman.
Okay.
So you know what song I'm talking about, though?
I know. I feel for you. I think
I love one.
You. I feel for you. Yeah, that was.
The guy sits there and goes Chaka Khan. I don't know.
Chaka Khan, we love you, Chaka Khan. Chaka Khan, come
that
on.
One.
Come on, Chaka Khan. I want to squeeze you. I want to hold you. I want to kiss you. I want to make it right. Chaka Khan, I want you all the night. Chaka Khan.
Yeah, that one.
Yep. I know the one. I spin it.
Right round?
Yeah, spin it around and round and round like a rock and roll record.
Baby, round.
He's... Let's go. Anyway, we know. I know the song you're referring. I understood that reference.
Ivan does too. He's Steve just Rogers. Not playing along. Ivan doesn't know it. He needs to pack up all of his records and go home.
Okay. Anyway, but
I just want to know your name. That's all.
I just want to know your name. Wasn't me.
Oh yeah. That's an entirely different song.
That would have went over right up there with I Want to Sex You Up, which that would have really kind of put it in a...
Was that Boyz II Men?
What?
I Want to Sex You Up? No, that was Color Me Bad.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. I know Boyz II Men did a song similar to that, and that they really didn't go for that because they went for they were traditionally more wholesome.
Oh, well, they were a ballad. They were a ballad group.
But they... obviously, End of the Road is the big, that big hit they had.
Well, and the one with Mariah Carey.
Yeah, One Sweet Day. Yeah,
and then of course there was.
But there was one that they put out that was somewhat a little more explicit, a little more, less subtle, as far as wanting to, get a babe. And they said initially they didn't care much for that first single that they put out.
I don't
know. I'm not sure which one it was. Doesn't matter because it's forgotten. So.
Well, I know that Belle Biv DeVoe, which of course was New Edition, sans, but Bobby Brown,
yep.
which.
And watching any television? Anything interesting in that regard?
On television?
Yeah.
No,
watching any TV? No.
Not watching much in the way of television. Just like I said, just been back and forth, just the records and the VDJing and I did a sit-in last night, which was a lot of fun. My little new thing that I'm doing on the Facebook now, the Rivera's Random Records, which Jeff appropriately named, for one of my little powwows, one of those things where I just decide, okay, I'm just going to go on and just play records, and we all sit around and we all just party as I play records, and everybody just lets it all hang out, which is really cool. And I'm really liking that format because of the fact that I don't have to think on my feet. I can just pull at will and just, ride the moment as it comes.
Yeah.
You don't do anything crazy though, do you?
What do you mean if I don't do anything crazy?
Just random stuff. He'll play
when you say random, how random are we talking?
Random I talking? Well, 1 minute I could be playing, I could be playing a surf song. Next minute I could be playing a rock song.
Or Viking songs.
Or I could drop something in, you come a long way from St. Louis. Sometimes, I could just come right out with Slap You Bitch Up, and shit like that, and it's just, it's never,
it's not Just to give perspective. You're not like going from like 2 Live Crew, Me So Horny to like Jolene by like Dolly Parton, are you?
Well, I could if I wanted to, but do I want to? Because
that's what I mean. I'm like, you're not going anywhere crazy like that, right?
No. Nothing so vulgarly, violently, segueing from one genre to another. No, but I do make it a comfortable crossover as I go through the path. I mean, just like there was one period where we were all sitting around listening to heavy psychedelic 60s tunes like Consortium, The Fun and Games, and, groups like that from the San Francisco Bay Area. Janis Joplin and, the Amboy Duke with yours truly, Mr. Wango Tango Man. Then we also would go from there. We would go away. We go into like the flower power music for a little while. And then, sometimes I would just turn a corner and just play something totally off the path and, like I'll just go into like the Moody Blues, I'll take a couple of tracks off of Days of Futures Past, almost like underground FM music, and then would follow through from there. And then next thing you know, I'm going to California, and then I'm making a straight run of surf tunes, including Dick Dale and the Deltones, and the Revels with Church Key, the Ventures, the Marquettes, their big records, and just kind of.
But you don't find a way to like slip in Californication by like the Chili Peppers.
I think he plays the newer stuff, not as much.
I do play some of the newer stuff too. I do allow for some new stuff to sneak in there every now and again. I kind of.
Yeah, I play Joan Jett.
No, I'm not talking about Joan Jett, you silly goose. And yeah, I mean, I do get some new things.
He's got Beaver Fever.
Beaver Fever. What a guy.
Ivan's got that Beaver Fever, folks.
More like Beaver Fever than anything else.
I've had the Jungle Fever with the Beaver Fever, so I got the fever for the flavor of a Beaver Fever flavor.
Mm. Yeah.
The breath that.
Hey, have you caught some of the? I mean, I don't know if this is your thing or not, but have you caught? So Miley Cyrus has been doing a lot of covers lately,
and
they've been pretty good. Like she was on Howard Stern this week, and she did like a cover of like one of Courtney Love's.
Right,
and yeah.
Well, from Hall.
Here's the thing. Okay, to give it into Miley Cyrus, who's trying to, recoup and regroup from a lot of really bad decisions, especially with the Flaming Groovies and the whole twerking debacle with old boy. What was his name? The guy she did the twerk with on stage.
I don't know. She was dating Thor's brother.
No. Yeah, well, all I know is
the Hemsworth, yeah.
Yeah, so it was it was the guy that she twerked with.
Well, yeah, she's got an amazing voice.
Yeah.
Oh, she's got a great voice. The only thing is that these choices that she's making, I mean, to kind of try to like find this new identity. It's almost like what the Monkees did with the movie Head, how they just kind of wanted to part from the Goody Two Shoes television show and try to be more psychedelic and heavy and kind of out there, kind of like their version of A Hard Day's Night, like the Beatles type of movie type of shit. Well, Miley Cyrus is just like trying to break away, and during her journey, she's just taken a few kind of crazy turns.
Yeah, but how many of those turns are because, quite frankly, she just doesn't want to be, she doesn't want to ever be thought of as Hannah Montana again.
Well, that's exactly right. You're correct in that. You're correct in that presumption because of fact
well, Ivan, you're placing it under the pretense of just trying to reinvent herself. I think it's just her just doing shit.
Well, yeah.
I mean,
what she finds passion in.
Like, Britney...
I'm not trying to say that, that's the sole purpose of the decision of trying to find her voice. Okay, no, but the Hannah Montana thing did do a number on her. As far as like, almost typecasting her to a point. And then after that, she tried to follow out with a movie, and movie was, I don't remember it. Do you? And,
it made a lot of money. It made a good amount of money. Because it was just basically,
it was
it was just a concert movie. That's all it was.
Well, there was a concert movie, and then there was an actual movie that she made, too.
I don't remember the name of it. But it was successful because it was somewhat more wholesome.
Dad or something like that, something around that whole thing.
And then she went absolutely crazy.
Yeah, But I mean, here's the thing. It's funny because, Britney went through, Britney is obviously the number one who went through all that stuff. But, let's really kind of put this in perspective.
It was a Disney curse, man. Anybody that spent any time at Disney got fucked up some kind of way afterwards.
Well, but here's the thing.
You had Miley Cyrus, Selena Gomez. You had, who was that one that
Demi Lovato.
Demi Lovato, yeah, okay. And then, of course,
Christina Aguilera.
Yeah, okay, and then what happened to the Jonas Brothers and all of those bands like that? Yeah, Disney is about as invested in their music people as most people, taking out their garbage, and it's just the whole thing about that whole thing. Okay, just like a lot of
those kids made a lot of money.
Yeah,
seriously, they got. Seriously, with Miley, by the time she hit 18, honestly,
she had
didn't have to work again.
Oh, well, yeah, she had the bucks because her old man, Billy Ray Cyrus,
Forget Billy Ray. That Hannah Montana deal was,
Well, it made the money. Yes, it made the money. And it put, Miley Cyrus out there. It brought Billy Ray Cyrus from obscurity of Achy Breaky Heart. And, and there was a lot of rumor that went around saying that, the reason why he's showing up there, he's just riding on the coattails of his daughter, which in a way was true in some respect. But when you start talking about what happens with the whole Disney curse, as they called it, with all these young actors, and this isn't a new thing for Disney. This has been going on in their history for a long time.
Oh, I'm sorry. We forgot somebody. We forgot Justin Timberlake.
Justin Timberlake.
I think that boy did all right for himself.
Yeah, but he had his issues too.
But then after a while, like a lot of them, they lose their way or they start taking on projects that are not of their previous caliber, or because they're trying to expand their horizons. But
and they want to distance themselves from their Disney controllers.
You know what? Exactly. If I have to distance myself living with Jessica Biel, I'm all good. That's just me, though. If I have to distance myself where I ended up at some point in my life where my girlfriends consisted of Britney Spears, Cameron Diaz, and Jessica Biel, life's pretty damn good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay there, old great Swami.
Well,
his handle women.
Well, geez.
No, but that's cool though. I could see you hanging out with all of them. I could.
Well, no, and then the best is, what's the one Justin Timberlake song, that Cry Me a River song, where literally it's pretty much him calling out Britney, and at one point in the video, there's a woman who literally looks like, from the back, looks like Britney.
Well,
before Taylor Swift was making revenge songs, Justin Timberlake.
Well, yeah, there's a little bit of history when they broke up that they. There was that one report that they ran into each other at some club, and literally it turned into a dance war. But
to get back war.
The only reason I brought this up is. The only reason I brought this, it was kind of like, the Sharks and the Jets, that kind of thing. But,
right.
But the only reason I brought it up is, I think it's interesting because she's really kind of finding her groove now, where she's she did a Britney cover recently and really kind of made it her own. And I think she's really kind of finding her way again as an artist. And
oh yeah, and I'm not disputing that whatsoever. What Miley Cyrus is doing is of a good thing, and and she's sounding good. She's got this look that is a lot. What, Hollywood and presentations in general, they all have their fucking idea of the whole beautiful situation and what fits and what doesn't fit. And I guess I'm not trying to be heinous in this in this content, but yeah, she's got a look now that is actually more palatable to the masses than her previous looks were. Okay.
Well, how much of it? I mean,
but how much
of it was
how much of it was presentation? How much of it was, well, we need to reinvent you to a point where people.
How much of it is? I'm 18 now. I got millions of dollars in the bank. There are people still buying. There are still kids buying Hannah Montana CDs today. Okay, and I've been under the thumb of Daddy for the last 4 or 5 years, and now I'm just gonna freaking go buck wild and crazy and do whatever the hell I want. I mean, think about it. I mean, I know how I was when I was in college. I mean, woohoo,
Yeah, and I get it. And I get it. Yes, of course. You're gonna rebel after being constricted to a certain, image for 4, 5, 6 years. Hell yeah, the moment that you're gonna break free, of course you're gonna do every conceivable thing to say, hey, fuck all that, man. Where's the shit? Where's the stuff? Where's the action? Where am I going? Okay, what are we doing? Okay, yeah, I haven't done this before. Let's go here. Oh, I haven't tried that before. Let's try that. Let's go ahead and blatantly put it in the people's faces that, yeah, this is not your Hannah Montana Miley Cyrus anymore.
Well, the point making is that Miley Cyrus is growing as an artist now.
Yep. Well, as an artist now, which I agree.
It's not just doing it for shock value.
Right. But here's the other crazy part when you stop and think.
A small portion of it is, but...
Oh, sorry, Mike.
It might be a small portion of it, maybe, but she's still, she's still got loads of talent, and she's out there doing cool stuff.
Yeah.
Well, but, she's worth looking. She's worth looking out for again. Yeah. In many respects, which maybe.
Here's the crazy part.
But okay, here's the crazy part.
Tell me, at any point in time, would you have ever imagined that Miley Cyrus would be on Howard Stern?
Oh yeah.
Never.
Well, yeah, I would. Once, well, maybe if you asked me when she was Hannah Montana, I'd probably say no. But when she...
Even 4 or 5 years ago.
When Wrecking Ball, as soon as Wrecking Ball came out, or even before that.
Oh, that was a major item, Wrecking Ball. Okay, from to the re-airbrushed covers to the controversy that it created. I mean, the likes of which I guess I could equate it to Madonna when she came out with Wrecking Ball. Yeah. That was a big deal. I mean.
Oh no. People still make fun of it. Still, people parody that still today.
Oh, of course they still parody that. Why? Because it's instantaneously recognizable. She did that, and it'll always go back to, oh yeah, Miley Cyrus. She did that first.
Was it Madonna and Britney who kissed on stage?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it was
well,
Madonna
and Christina Aguilera.
And Christina Aguilera.
Right, It's always forgotten that Madonna then went and kissed Christina Aguilera. The only difference is Christina Aguilera, it's like a peck on the mouth, whereas with Britney, it's like, okay, they're practically tongue-fucking each other.
Yeah,
she went in. She went in for the kill on that.
So it was funny.
She had the Beaver fever.
I'm working at Sporting News Radio that night, and I'm watching it, and all the guys in the control rooms are watching it in any other control rooms. And I'm in the back and I'm watching it, and we're all seeing this at the exact same moment. And it was funny because one of the hosts is watching it, and he's like, holy crap, Madonna's tugging Britney. And I was dying. There was a period of time where every screensaver in the whole, for a couple of weeks, the screensaver on every male computer in the entire was that shot.
Was that shot?
Absolutely. I mean, today it would be an HR nightmare, but back then,
that was how things were done.
I mean, it's
and let me tell you something. I have to give it to Madonna to be the type of artist who just, she just basically didn't give a shit. This is my voice. This is my visual. This is what I want people to see. This is who I am. Okay. I'm not going to hide behind no bullshit. Here it is. Yeah, I'm going to kiss.
Yeah, she paved the way for a lot of the female artists.
You know what's funny?
She put herself out there, and she opened up a lot of fucking doors, you know, for the new female art of the 1980s, you know, whereas, you know, that situation was still under the thumb in like the 70s and, you know, and even in the 60s. But man, the 80s, I believe, were the breakout situation for the girls. I mean, look at all the girl groups that came out in the 80s, you know, the Go-Go's, you know.
Yeah, but you still had a lot of those. I think there was one group called the Pussycat Dolls. And there was that's
the 2000s.
That's in the 2000s.
But
yeah,
I mean,
but that's
there's still a lot of problems with the label execs and women back in the day.
Well, I mean, they had their fair share of situations that were paid by ways of money, you know, and a lot of
Pussycat Dolls. Let's back that up.
Okay, let's focus on that. All right.
I don't know if Mike's aware of this or not. So the Pussycat Dolls is based on a burlesque show, and I can't remember if it was in Vegas or Hollywood where they were doing a burlesque show.
I think it was Vegas.
I think it was Vegas. And what would happen is they were doing like a really popular burlesque show called the Pussycat Doll Show and the Pussycat Doll Club. And it was funny because every so often they'd have a big time celebrity come in to like be where they would like front it, and they would do stuff like the songs and all that stuff. The Pussycat Dolls group was a spin-off from that.
Right.
But in fairness to Mike's point, yes, they were kind of thrown together a little bit, but initially it was supposed to be, the plan was to spin it off from that, and that's where that came from.
Yeah, but one of the singers from the group later came out and said that group is just pretty much a prostitution ring for the label. I mean, they were abused pretty badly by the label.
Well, yeah, well, there was a big court battle about that whole thing. I mean, there was lawsuits, a lot of big money. And the fact of the matter being that there was a lot of speculation as who was getting what when they spun the group off from the venue, and then they weren't banking on it becoming a viable, absolute viable product. You know, like, oh my gosh, we could market this, we could make records of this.
I don't think they expected that album to go platinum.
No, they didn't expect that at all. That just totally came out of left field. They're like, what the fuck, man?
Well, in fairness, it was good.
Right.
I mean, it was great for the clubs. I mean, it was exactly what people were looking for to play in the clubs at that time. And it was good workout music. I mean, it was
right when the Me Too movement started, there were rumors that the Pussycat Dolls were going to get back together, and this is when the one singer came out and right away said, shut it down right away, saying, no, we're not getting back.
Well, what's her name? What's her name's busy being a judge on The Masked Singer. I don't think she's going anywhere because she's making a lot. What am I saying?
But
and it's funny because she started on a different. Didn't Nicole Scherzer start with a different girl group that was some sort of reality show? I want to say it was like a WB reality show. I want to say it was like something called Pop Stars or something.
Why does that sound familiar? Yeah, you know what? I think you're right. Wasn't there a short-lived series called Pop Stars that was out?
Right. And
was this after Star Search and before American Idol?
Yes. Yeah. This was during like the time frame when like making the band was a thing.
Right.
And everybody was doing like those kinds of shows.
That was O-Town, right? Is that where O-Town came from?
Yeah, O-Town was making the band. Yeah. And they talked about getting back together, and it didn't happen.
I mean, and that was that. Everybody rushed to that whole thing, including the pop singers, and yeah, she was part of that. You're right.
Did you ever see when they let Puffy take over making the band on MTV?
P. Diddy.
Did you ever see this?
I
my God!
Oh my God, how bad good is it?
I mean, there's one time where literally he makes them walk, I can't remember to what borough, to get him cheesecake and come back. Not drive, walk.
Oh, that's fucked up, man. Wow.
I mean, like, there's all kinds of stuff like that.
Oh my God.
And they show it. They showed it on MTV.
Okay.
I mean, I'm like dying. I'm like, man, there's better ways to break into the. And at the time, in fairness, it was when when Puff was at the biggest of his career. You know, Bad Boy was far larger and far more important than they are now.
Right.
You know, but yeah. I think there was a girl group that he put together that was short-lived that did okay for a little bit, and then it died out too.
Well, you know, but that was like a trend that was going along. I mean, there was the Cheetah Girls for Disney for a while. Then
right.
There was there was another one that floated around too.
Well, all that's based on the fact that, like, you know, really reality, when you stop and think about it, you know, the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, and even like 98 Degrees in some level, were all kind of, I mean, some of them knew each other, but for the most part, they were all kind of thrown together.
Well, that was because, see, the thing is, with those types of groups, they basically followed the Monkees formula, okay, for for auditions, and they just got them together. Right. They worked for.
They followed the New Kids on the Block or the Menudo strategy.
Right, exactly. So with
this one will be the edgy one. This one will be the clean cut one.
Yeah. Exactly, Mike. So that's what it was. It wasn't about the whole thing about the music. It was the imaging. It was the presentation, the package. Right. If they sang, that was the nice bonus.
Selling posters and magazines, pretty much.
And, you know,
right.
Merchandising. Yeah, we're going to make a whole row of these dolls, and we're going to go ahead and make pills with their pictures on them, and, you know, and all manner of ephemera. But, you know,
in fairness, I would have bought the NSYNC marionettes from Bye Bye Bye, just to say I had them.
No, but that's clever though. Which you have to kind of give it to the guys in some of those bands. They did come up with some neat ideas. Okay, mm-hmm. And the whole Bye 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 thing, was right up there with Peter Gabriel and some of the other more artsy things like Dire Straits, Money for Nothing, that type of thing, that type of imaging. You know, so it's something that you talk about it and people, they know it right away. So, you know, again, it goes back to the people making indelible, images, on people's minds, Madonna and everything to such. So those bands, they were auditioned, they were primmed, they were preened, they were, whatever it is that they needed. If one of them wasn't strong on a vocal, they fixed it in post and everything, and they made it all nice. They packaged it up. Again, like it says,
auto-tune.
Well, yeah, auto-tune. Okay, it was just like the Monkees. They said it in one of their songs. Hey, we are the Monkees. For those who do agree that we are just we're manufactured quality. The money's in. We're made of tin. We're here to give you more.
Yeah. Well, meanwhile, as a kid, I loved the Monkees. I mean,
I love the Monkees. The Monkees are fucking cool, man. And you notice that a lot of that is coming back in the fashions and in the attitudes towards certain presentations on television. They're kind of patterning themselves after this era, and it's just really very cool how a lot of it just kind of, you remember it just like that, the Monkees.
By the way, are you watching The Masked Singer at all?
Nope.
No, I'm not. I'm sorry.
I'm not saying it because I think you'd enjoy it, Ivan. I think you really would.
Okay, well, fine. I'll go ahead.
I think you'd really enjoy it. And the reason why, because my first reaction was kind of like yours. It's like, there's another reality show. But I got news for you. I'm sitting there all the time, and I'm like, I don't know who this is. And I'm literally like, half the time, I'm like, I don't got a clue. And it's like, you're sitting there the whole time, and you're like, okay, can I figure out who this is? And then they give you clues and stuff. sometimes in the end it's like, okay, I think I might have figured out who this is.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's funny because the judges sometimes don't, and I will admit that Ken Jeong is pretty hysterical in that show.
Okay. Fair enough.
But the judges at this point are, just so you know, it's Robin Thicke, it's Ken Jeong, it's Jenny McCarthy, and it's Nicole Scherzinger.
Isn't Robin Thicke? Isn't he the one who twerked with?
Yeah, that's exactly who it was.
Getting back to that, yeah. What season is the Masked? What season the Masked Singer on?
They're on like season 4.
Really?
Or 3. Matter of fact, the finals are, well, actually, the finals will be over when this episode before this episode drops.
Okay.
And it's funny because I guess now they're going to do a Masked Dancer one too, but we'll see where that goes. But
I think I'll take your suggestion, Jeff. Yeah,
but it is fun. I mean, like they've had.
Where can you find it? Please tell me. And
it's on Fox. It's on regular Fox. It's on regular TV. It's on regular Fox.
Oh, fucking
32. WFLD, Chicago.
Yeah.
Channel 32.
Yeah, in Chicago, yeah.
There.
Used to be.
There.
But, like, they've had some really surprising people. I mean, they had, like, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, who was the person they had a couple weeks ago where you would have been like, wow.
Okay.
I don't want to say, it was like somewhere around the line, and I know I'm going to get this wrong, but I almost want to say it was like somebody like a Burt Bacharach or somebody on that kind of like back in the day kind of guy.
Wow. Cool.
Like they've had like
they've had some real pedigree in the place. Okay.
Right. Like this past week, I can say because it already happened. Like they had Taylor Dane.
What? Oh my God! I haven't heard that. Shit, I haven't heard like Taylor Dane in ages, man.
Wasn't he married to Jessica Simpson?
No, this is Taylor Dane. There's a girl. There's a woman, Taylor Dane.
Wait a minute.
Taylor Dane.
Who am I thinking of?
You're thinking about Nick Lachey.
Taylor Dane. Well, it sounds the same.
Yeah, okay.
Taylor Dane, Nick Lachey.
That would be something. Taylor Dane and Jessica Simpson together.
Taylor Dane and Nick Lachey. They sound the same.
You think that would be hot as the Madonna kiss? Tell me it would be.
Oh my God. But,
oh my God, that would be obscene.
I would name off some like 70s and 80s like black female artists because like a lot of them have been on the show.
Well, okay, Sarah Dash.
No, more popular.
More popular? Okay, Brenda K. Starr?
No, more popular than that.
Little Kim?
No, not Little Kim. You're going the wrong direction.
Little Kim
like Anita Baker. Think like Anita
90s.
Baker. Like think like Anita Baker. Like that kind of.
Okay. Anita Baker now. Then we're talking like the Pointer Sisters, like Diana Ross, like
no, Diana Ross has not been on yet, but
let's see. Oh, but I get what you know, Thelma Houston or let me see.
No, I could go look up some names of previous people, but then they'll have some crazy ones like. They'll have some people who are like athletes and stuff, or people you don't expect to sing. Like they had Gronk.
Really?
Gronkowski.
They had Gronk. They got Gronkowski for it, or they had Wendy Williams.
Wendy Williams. Oh, wow.
They had Clint Black and his wife. What's her name? Lisa Hartman.
Oh, wow. Great.
Like I said, I wouldn't tell you, I wouldn't be saying it to you if it wouldn't be something like Donny Osmond's been on it.
Oh, okay. I'm sold. I'll go see it.
Like I said, no, they pull some people, and it is funny because they'll pull some people that you're like, okay, like they'll have like they had like Olympic athletes. Right. They'll pull a lot of different people. I think you'd really enjoy it, especially.
How often do the judges guess the Masked Singer correctly?
Well, it's funny. They made some tweaks this year, which is they now have something where they basically had their first they made them do like a first listen guess, and then they bring them out they bring them out like when it's time to unmask the person. And if they stick with that name, they get credit towards what they're calling now the Golden Ear Trophy. And there have been, I think there have been a few people who've gotten people from straight up right off the bat. Like it was funny because like when the panel was asked, like when the panel was asked about the one for Taylor Dane, like now they had like Craig Robinson on as a guest host, as a guest judge, but like 3 out of the 5 of them were like, oh yeah, it's Taylor Dane. But good. Sometimes they're really stumped. Like there was one time, actually you guys will get a kick, Ivan will get a really kick out of this. There's one time that they totally got stumped. It was Sarah Palin.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Or like there was like the one after the Super Bowl. I think the one after the Super Bowl this past year. The first night, the first person to get knocked out last after the Super Bowl this past year, Lil Wayne.
Lil Wayne. Wow.
So they pull from a lot of directions.
Okay. Well, like I said, man, you what would they say? You have made sufficient evidence to sustain the claim of a really, really good show. So I'm gonna go ahead.
I will admit that the other show that's after it usually, I will admit I don't know why I've been watching the show, but it's Ken Jeong is doing a show called I don't know if Mike's heard about this, called I Can See Your Voice.
I can see your
No, I'm
voice.
not familiar.
So the premise is you can't really figure out if they're good or bad singers, and you have to pick if you think they're a good or bad singer.
Oh, wow.
And they have like a panel of people, they have like a panel of judges, and they have like a bunch of celebrity judges. And in the end, at the end, they'll have people like where they'll have like a guest singer that day come in, and they'll like sing with the person, and we'll find out if they're good or bad. Like this past episode, the singer was singing with Rick Springfield. and I can't remember if they were good or bad. I think they were bad, and it was hysterical. God. So it's a really bad singer singing with
a temperament. I mean, he's got a bit of a temper, that guy.
Oh no, he was having fun with it because he was one of the celebrity judges, like helping them pick who was good and bad. So it was funny because like there were a couple times he's like, I'm positive that's a bad singer, and then he was wrong. But yeah, no, like some of these shows that Fox are doing, like these like music ones that are like these game show music ones have been like great.
Okay, I'm gonna have to take them in, man. I'm just gonna have to.
It's funny. I think
and we a lot of people thought that after American Idol ended, that this is going to be the end of the musical talent reality show.
No, not by a lot.
And it turns out they were wrong. I mean, the voice was still going strong.
Right, the voice is still.
Voice is going solid.
But American Idol was considered the giant. That
was the apex of all of them.
And now, like later seasons, you can't name me who won what season towards the end.
Well, it's funny because in some ways now The Voice is more popular than American Idol, even though it's back. And part of it is, I hate to say it, what's made The Voice more interesting is, I hate to say it this way, but with The Voice, it's all based on, look, that whole concept of they're sitting on those chairs and they can't see anybody, and, oh, come on, you gotta turn for this person, and all that kind of stuff, and then they're fighting over who's going to be on their team, and they sit there and they do all that stuff where they're fighting amongst each other. I mean, that's good TV. I mean, that's just good TV. Yeah. And they pick the right people.
Right. Who know they know who they get to the excitability factor, and it's all about ear and eye candy. But it still makes for good television because there's just a whole lot more going on.
Right. Well, and they pick the right people to be like the coaches.
Right, the coaches.
Like, I'll tell you right now, Blake Shelton's career has never been bigger than ever since he's been on The Voice.
Oh yes, that's true. And you find that the premise of the whole thing with The Voice and getting the different coaches, and you kind of get the impression that the coaches are actually invested in this thing. Okay, like this isn't just some bullshit. Oh, I'm just going to sit there and make my money and get the fuck out of here and let somebody else take care of the kids, whatever. No, these people seem like they're really invested. The people that go on it are invested. Remember when Pearl was on there? And how much he did, and it just, there was a bunch of Carell. That's fair. Did I say Farrell? I beg your pardon.
Yes, that's okay.
Okay. So that being
said,
they've
got this season. I think right now it's actually this is the most amusing of. See, and then they do amusing things like, okay, we'll put Gwen Stefani and Blake Shelton on in the same season as coaches, and they're engaged to be married.
Right.
So it's like you really, how's that going to go over? And then now they're going to turn it into a paid in place, and then you know what? Then that's going to. Well, no, it's funny because it's like they'll fight over singers. They'll fight over people they want on their team. Gwen doesn't want
they don't take that fight home.
Right, but it's funny because it's like I think this season it's like Gwen Stefani, Blake Shelton, John Legend, and ironically Miley Cyrus.
Yeah.
There you go.
Miley's on there. And it's funny because the chemistry works. You get the right people, and
and it works. And and again, it just also I think because these people are vested in what they're doing. This is their brand going out there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they put it. This person is entrusting their career to a person that they're hoping that is going to be invested enough to want to at least get a direction or get her up and running into something, or him or her, but that situation, and then that's a huge.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's not Miley. It's Kelly Clarkson. My bad.
Yeah,
it's Kelly Clarkson.
But Miley was on for like 1 or 2 seasons.
Yeah, Miley has been on it, but that's not.
Oh no, I know. I remember
it's Kelly
her.
Clarkson.
No, I remember her being on it. I mean, I don't catch it a lot, but I do catch it when I do. And it's just one of those things. But yeah, I'm definitely interested, in the other show too, which I'm.
Yeah, no. Like I said, but you're right, Mike, because it's like people kind of thought when like American Idol was done, like when American Idol kind of wore down, that it was like that's it. We're not going to see a lot of these, and it's like no, people like music.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they brought it back on ABC, and it just wasn't the same.
I think they still are. I think it's still going.
I think it's still on ABC this year.
Right. I think it's still. I don't think it's dead. I think it's still going.
Yeah, and I wish they would bring back like Name That Tune. I would love a.
They are.
They are? Where?
Yeah,
Where?
They are. Actually, it's going to start. God, I can't remember. Fox is
GSN?
doing it. No, Fox is doing it.
Okay.
Fox is doing Name That Tune. No, I'm not kidding. Literally, you're like walking right into it, Ivan. Yes. I've seen all kinds of ads for Name That Tune. It's going to be on Fox.
How do you like this shit? Okay, I'm missing out over here.
And I can't remember who the host is. But
that's what the internet's for. We'll find it out. Yeah.
I can't remember off the top of my head. But literally they are doing a brand new Name That Tune.
Oh, that's so cool. That is so fucking cool. I used to love that show when I was a kid, man.
It's funny. That's the other thing I'm noticing is, and I wonder how much the pandemic. Now, in fairness, ABC kind of started this trend, and then it's kind of gone on with the pandemic now a little bit too, which is they're really dipping back into the old game show concept and just freshening all these things up. Like, look at what ABC's done with Press Your Luck, Card Sharks, Celebrity Family
they're all feeding into that. They're all feeding into that 1970s nostalgia.
Yeah, this article's from Variety from a month ago. It said, Name That Tune reboot ordered at Fox with Jane Krakowski as a host and Randy Jackson as the band leader.
Oh, shit. How cool is that? Oh, man, I'm going to be so on top of that, mother.
It'll premiere January 6th.
Right.
Awesome. Man, you guys gave me some really great viewing, man. Okay.
And the music part is, all of this is not see, this is what I laugh about. For all the talk about streaming, there's actually some good stuff on regular TV.
Yeah, free TV. Just gotta tweak it, but you get it.
Well, the best part is, like,
it's free.
I would bet money, and I could be wrong I almost would be willing to bet money. I bet Soraya watches The Masked Singer.
I'm sure she does.
That's what it's turned into. We're like literally, and Mike's seen it before. What am I saying? You've probably seen it before. We're like, I'll say I'm watching The Masked Singer. And like, people will pop on my Facebook and be like, yeah, I don't think that's who it is. I think it's this person. And I'm like, okay, there's a lot of people watching this. We're like guessing all this stuff. But yeah. Oh, by the way, we should get to this. So Mike, how was your week?
Well, thank you for asking, Jeff.
Sorry.
Hour 10 minutes into the show.
Sorry. I really didn't mean for this to turn into that. It was just a random, hey, have you seen Miley who's doing covers? And the next thing you know, we get into a good conversation. It's like, whoops.
But that's what it's about. We're evoking those thoughts in our listeners. They'd be like, damn, man, they really put their fair share into it. Yeah. We enjoy what we do, folks. So, yeah. So that being said, yes, Mike, what happened with you this
I watched the holiday movies that made us. Same guys that made the toys that made us on Netflix.
Okay.
They have a Netflix series. They covered Elf and The Nightmare Before Christmas. And the Elf one, now truth be told, Elf is not like my favorite Christmas movie, but I appreciate Will Ferrell. But there's some good trivia out of it, and I think that's pretty much what it's good for. I mean, the history of the show and where the movie's origin came from. Like initially, like Chris Farley was going to be the lead in the 90s, but that didn't work out because, well, I think the guy who wrote the story didn't care for this. He wanted a father-son story, but in this one was kind of more slapstick. I know Chris Farley had done some dramatic stuff, maybe not like Jim Carrey level dramatic stuff, but I mean, it was still based in slapstick, and then Will Ferrell didn't have the the studio backing of being a lead, and I forget that Elf was directed by Jon Favreau.
Yeah, I might not have remembered that at all. No.
Yeah. And he had I think he had one line in it. I think it was before he'd done anything really. It was only like the second film he directed. But it was, and then there was a little bit of tension between James Caan and Will Ferrell. So he didn't, Will Ferrell was more touchy-feely and James Caan is more old school, and there's one scene where he wanted to there's a scene in Elf where James kind of tells him to get out, it's toward the end or something. There's the breakdown with Peter Dinklage, and he tells Buddy to get out, and Favreau kind of told, off camera, kind of whispered to him, that you're Sonny Corleone. Now tell him to get the fuck out or something like that. And then he yelled action, and he got that passion out of that scene. Because there was some times where James Caan and Will Ferrell were and he irritated him, I think was the best way to put it. But it was not interesting as The Nightmare Before Christmas. That was an interesting viewing, just to know the history of that. Because Tim Burton, as we all know, worked at Disney, but he didn't really fit in. But he pitched Nightmare Before Christmas to Disney, and they said no, but they shelved it, and it then became theirs. And so then he went and did Batman, and now he's the most famous director in the world. And now Tim Burton's I want to do this Nightmare Before Christmas. And Disney's okay, we'll help you do it. So it's an interesting story. I don't want to get into all the details, but it's interesting that Danny Elfman was the singing voice of Jack Skellington.
I didn't know that either.
You mean the Danny Elfman, the guy that does the orchestration?
Does all the music. And that's one thing, too,
music.
Is that Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure is the reason why Tim Burton and Danny Elfman do so much work together. He introduced those two. And Danny Elfman was the lead singer for Oingo Boingo.
Was he really?
Yeah.
I'll be damned, Oingo Boingo. I used to love Oingo Boingo.
But if you got a Netflix
account... Is it Oingo Boingo in Back to School?
I think so.
I think
Maybe.
so.
Isn't that the band? Isn't that the band that?
I think that's the band. Yeah, Oingo Boingo.
Yeah.
With the Party in the Dorm song, right? That they do.
Right.
Yeah, that they
Maybe.
think.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. A lot of interesting little stuff about the history of The Nightmare Before Christmas is in that. I don't want to get into all of it.
Which ones else? What other ones did they do? I mean, I know they've done some older ones in the past where they had like Die Hard. And
they did Die Hard.
So it sounds like they've done some newer ones too.
Yeah,
though.
Ghostbusters. They did. I know the movies that made us. They did one for Dirty Dancing. That was interesting too.
Right.
I found that surprisingly interesting. Just like how like the toys that made us. The Barbie one was pretty interesting too. It was like those women were cutthroat at Mattel. Any other girl's doll line would come up, they'd be like, they'd take those bitches down. It's true, truth. So yeah, the movies that made us, that was good on Netflix. I watched.
So which ones did they do? They did Elf and they did Nightmare Before Christmas.
I think that's all they got now. I think.
Okay.
But I think that's the only two they're doing for holiday movies. They got other ones down the pike. I think for like Alien or Aliens and Back to the Future. Other ones they got lined up, but I think that's the only two they're doing for the holiday movies.
I'm surprised they didn't do like Home Alone.
They did they did the story for Home Alone from the movies that made us.
Did they really? Okay.
Yeah, that is one of the other ones. I didn't watch that one. Actually.
Have they done like 16 Candles or like?
No, I don't think so.
Let me see.
But I can't remember.
But that's the two I watched. I obviously watched Chapter 14 of Mandalorian.
It's getting hard. It's getting harder now, especially like when I like the Star Wars page, and the first thing I see this morning is a picture of like Boba Fett, and I'm like, God, fucking damn it.
Yep.
Okay. Translate to those of us who don't know quite that much.
Boba Fett was the guy who captured Han Solo in Empire Strikes Back.
Okay.
He's the dude with the gray beat-up armor.
Right. The guy
he's the bounty hunter.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's the guy who gets knocked into the pit of despair and doom in Return of the Jedi. Speaking
of the pit of despair, but one quick thing before we move on to Mandalorian.
Or the Sarlacc, yeah.
The Sarlacc pit. Is that the also because Danny Elfman's acting wasn't very good, so Tim Burton had to get another actor to do the speaking voice for Jack Skellington. So they got the guy who played Prince Humperdinck in Princess Bride. He was the speaking voice for Jack.
Wow. Unfucking
So I did not know that. That was cool.
That is amazing.
Ivan probably might remember Boba Fett from the part. Well, wait, stop. How does Ivan know how do you not know who Boba Fett is?
I heard of Boba Fett through conversation.
Boba!
No.
Boba Fett. Okay, sorry, Boba Fett.
Oh boy.
We just got our episode title.
He's not a fucking chimp. Now I need to find a chimp with a Boba Fett.
I'm so sorry.
Now I need to find a chimp with a Boba Fett outfit. And get that for like a stuffed chimp with a Boba Fett outfit for like Ivan.
Zero fucks given by the Star Wars Facebook page by Monday if you haven't watched Mando by then. So
yeah, seriously.
Zero fucks?
Yeah, because there's about spoilers.
Yeah, seriously, everywhere.
And speaking of spoilers, those 28,000 people who got the HasLab Razor Crest for $300, I feel sorry for those people.
Oh, shit. Oh, no. What happened?
Well, spoilers. Sorry, Jeff.
Okay.
They blew up the Mandalorian ship.
What?
They blew up the Winnebago?
They blew up the Winnebago with wings.
I don't know where I saw that, where someone compared it to the
Winnebago with wings from Spaceballs.
Yeah, from Spaceballs.
You
know what? They're not wrong. It's funny. The Boba Fett scene where he dies is still one of the funniest scenes in all the Star Wars trilogy. Boba Fett? Where's Boba Fett?
And he had, and when he finds the jetpack has the dent that Han Solo put in it when he hit him in the back.
That's hysterical.
Yeah.
That's funny. Well, a couple of weeks. I'll see it in a couple of weeks. I'm not.
Well, there's only 2 episodes left, so might as well get your Disney Plus account now. Drop your $7 and
well, like
enjoy.
I said, I'm waiting for. I might as well wait till Soul comes out, and then I'll just.
Because I saw an article I posted on the Squares page from Forbes about how wrote an article in Forbes saying that these last 2 episodes of The Mandalorian are better than the last 5 Star Wars films, and I beg to disagree, but beg to differ.
Well, I haven't seen them yet, but I have.
This does not sound favorably.
No, I liked The Force Awakens, and I loved Rogue One.
Mm-hmm.
And
But
Solo was okay. I didn't hate Solo.
No.
But you're not passionate towards this, are you?
Well,
it's a good. I think that's just.
I mean, is it good or is it great? Come on, sell me.
Oh, it's great. It's great. It's just I understand where Mike's coming from, which is okay. Somebody wanted a whole lot of clicks and people.
And
shit.
And he did. I got it. Yeah.
Congratulations. He succeeded wildly.
Yes.
Clickbait.
Okay. Anyway, so yeah, that was this. It's good. It's good television.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And it's good Star Wars.
Cool.
So.
All right, I'm sold.
So Mando, and had a game night. We might do one more before the end of the year. We'll see.
I saw you were doing.
I saw that picture, man. Those are great.
What were you playing?
Age of Mythology. It's
okay. Oh, isn't that a long game?
It was about 2 hours.
Oh, is it?
2.5, I think we
that
were.
was a lot longer than that. Like that was like one of those things you could play like 8 hours.
Yeah, you could, especially if you got like 4 or 5 people. We just 3 of us, so.
Hey, Mike, can you give us a synopsis of it?
Okay, yes, I can, Ivan. Thank you, Bobo Fett.
You're welcome.
Oh man, that's not good. I think we found the name of the episode.
Yes, we have.
We found the name. And it was funny. There were a couple in the running, but Bobo Fett is gonna be the winner. We need someone to like drop Boba Fett looking like a chip. I swear to God.
Bless the fool.
It's okay. It's just funny. It's like we have this great conversation and we get to the part where we're supposed to be able to talk about nerd shit, and Ivan's like, "Who's Bobo Fett?" Oh, that is the sound of all 5 listeners turning off our podcast.
What if he doesn't survive? He's worth a lot of bananas to me.
Oh, wow. Hello. Wow.
So anyway, Age of Mythology is just a strategy game about building your army, building your empire, and going into battle against like either the Norse or the Greeks or the Egyptians.
Oh, okay.
And it was interesting. It was just fun. It had a learning curve to it, but we caught on. But it was interesting. I'm usually not for these long-term strategy games. I've been meaning to hopefully, in one of these years, hopefully we can get together and play Star Trek Ascension, because I bought the game a couple of years ago, but it takes a long-ass time to play.
I'd like to be part of that.
All right, well, get your ass out here and plop your ass down for 4 hours.
What are you talking about? Put him on Zoom and let him play.
I don't know if you can't play it on Zoom because it is a board game. You're just like, okay, move this piece over to that space, and then move this piece. All right, don't look. I can't. You need to show me my cards. Like,
right. I think it's lost the translation though. That's an in-person.
A lot of board. This is kind of board game. Doesn't translate well to video chats. But it was good.
I'd be interested to play a good game, though. I mean, I love board games, and I love to game, and I like to learn new games. So it's like that sounds very exciting.
Yeah, and for once we played a competitive game.
There's a part of me where I'm tempted to introduce Ivan to my Star Wars RPG campaign that we play once a month.
Yeah, Ivan can play Boba Fett.
Oh my God, that would be. Oh my God. You really could.
I could.
Oh, God. I'd have to find a race where you could play a monkey. And I'd have to figure out...
And all the other players would be correcting him the whole time. It's Bobo. No, my name's Bobo.
Especially if he was like wearing a...
Bobo Fett.
Oh, my God. That might have to be...
Yeah, man, I'm Bobo.
You know, it's really funny. I might have to use that for one of my characters needs to go undercover. I might have to use Bobo Fett.
Hey, man.
I might have to use Bobo Fett.
I'm Bobo Fett.
That's a great cover name. I might need that. I mean, one of my characters is undercover with Jabba the Hutt at the moment.
Well, you know what? You might need some Boba Fett. Yeah, man.
The funny part is the real Boba Fett. I mean, Boba Fett. Anyway.
Oh, I know. Now I know it's Boba Fett. But Boba Fett, I don't know. I guess I don't know what I would
There
think.
is a part of me, though, Mike, where I'm tempted to unleash Ivan on our ongoing campaign that's only been around for 20 plus years.
2 words. Do it.
Yeah, I don't know that I want to hear the consequences of when I do it later for people. When people go, so you invited that guy? Yeah, I did. He knows nothing about that. I know. But is he fun?
When do I set my phaser to kill?
I want to buy a Dalek.
When do I get to fly a Colonial Viper?
Yeah. I want to buy a Dr. Theopolis.
You're killing me, Smalls. Oh, my God.
When do we fight the Klingons?
Yeah, seriously. That would be the best. You know, there's a part of me now.
I don't fully understand all this.
I swear to God, there's a part of me now I want to do it just to watch Ivan say shit like that. And record it on purpose to be like, people listen be like, what the? Who the hell is this guy? And be like, you sit there and be like, where I would be like, all right, let's fight the Klingons. What?
Oh my God.
Literally, we have Ivan be like, so what are we investigating? The Borg cube.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ivan. Have your character sit there and say, make it so 15 times. That'll work.
The illiterate
yeah, got yourself an idea there. And of course, I spent the weekend decorating too, so that's all done. I'm glad that's finished. Ready for Christmas over here.
There you go. I mean,
hey.
You go and going to your house, Mike. Man, it makes Christmas. So it's just such a beautiful place when you do that. I had my fair share of having stayed over and everything, and it's just being in your house is just such a dream come true. I mean, especially the Christmas with all the decorations, beautifully done. Bravo, man.
Is Bobo Fett on the top of the tree?
No, I got a Yoda and Chewbacca and I think a BB-8, but no, I don't have a Boba Fett on my tree.
Oh my God!
Come to think of it,
the scary part is I almost am tempted to talk to a couple people who I know are artists and be like, "Could you draw me at Boba Fett if he looked like a chimp?" Don't ask me why. Just
a chimp wearing the Boba Fett's chest armor.
Oh, yeah.
I swear to God.
Oh, shit.
I did. In fairness, I did play. It's been a while now, but I did play in a role-playing group where we used to play on what used to be the old AOL AIM chat. And we used to get together every Thursday night, and I swear to God, we used to laugh as hard as we're laughing right now because we were playing the old Marvel Superheroes game, the TSR one.
Yep.
And
D10.
Yeah, the D10s.
Yep.
And in fairness, it was supposed to be like a serious superhero thing, and I decided I wasn't going to be a serious superhero. I decided I wasn't going to be a serious superhero. Now, in fairness, my character was really, really high powered. but I created a character. The character's name was Lou. That was his superhero name too. Was Lou.
Lou. Okay.
And Lou lived above. Lou worked at the video store that his uncle owned, and basically, Lou didn't like wearing costumes because he couldn't afford them anyway. And Lou was like 400 pounds, but he had telekinesis, so he's the laziest fuck on the planet.
Okay.
Okay. Like, his idea of a costume is like, okay, I'm gonna wear my Jeter jersey today. Okay. I mean, that's the level of what Lou is. And
I get this picture in my head.
And then so Lou lives in Greenwich Village, and and it was funny because at first my tagline was the mighty Lou of Greenwich Village, Greenwich's #1 superhero, and then someone reminded me Doctor Strange lives in Greenwich.
And he's Marvel.
Right, and he's Marvel. So Lou's #1 archenemy is Doctor Strange.
Okay.
Because Lou is now the #2 superhero in Greenwich Village.
Funny.
And often Lou would sit there and say, "I am the mighty Lou of Greenwich Village, Greenwich's #2 superhero." Damn you, Strange.
Oh, that's so good.
But yeah, so you can imagine how. I mean, so it was really amusing because at first everybody was playing like a normal character in this campaign,
Okay.
and as I started to do this, everybody was my straight man, and I would do all kinds of shit, and everybody's like, wait a minute.
You went up everybody. You went upside everybody's head. Is that what you
Well, no, it was just kind of like they weren't thinking about it. They could go like funny, humorous, and it was like, so all of a sudden everybody's like, no. You're not going to be the only one who sits there and makes jokes all night. And suddenly, like, everybody's like changing their character around, and we were part of a group. The name of our superhero group was called the Chaos Theory. Our tagline
for Chaos Theory. Can I steal that from you? I like that.
I'm sure you can. Our tagline for our team was, "Oh no, not them. Anybody but them."
Wow.
I swear to God, it was a blast. I mean, and it was funny because one person was like, "Screw it, I'll be the straight man for all of you. I don't care." and I, in some ways, I felt bad for him because literally, I mean, in fairness, there were a couple people at times who had played a normal straight characters, but like at times it was like, "I'm so sorry." They're like, "No, you're," and they're like, "No, you're not." Like there was one, like literally, like the bad guy would show up and do something, and he'd like give this long, and it's like, no, you can't. And like seriously, this is something Lou would say. "Hey, wait a minute, you're not allowed to do that. Why not? You haven't given your long soliloquy yet. What are you talking about? You're supposed to give a long soliloquy.
Monologue.
You're supposed to monologue now."
He caught me monologuing.
"You're supposed to be monologuing." And he's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "It's in the book. You're supposed to monologue." Or like somebody would show up with a costume, and I swear to God, Lou's comment would be like, "Do you realize those colors clash?" I mean, this is the stuff he'd say. Like, it's like, "Of course you're horrible." He's like, "You have to be a C-level villain. Your costume is horrible." I mean, this is regular things he'd say on the regular basis.
Was this before Liefeld's Deadpool?
Oh my God!
This predated Deadpool.
You know, it might have been, and it's after a lot. Well, it might have been around that time. I was basing a lot of it on the '90s Justice, that late '80s, early '90s Justice League series, the Bwahaha years of where. Like, it was the funny, and by the way, if you ever can find it, Ivan, the Kevin McGuire, Jan DeMatteis, Justice League book I mean, there's that. I swear to God, I used to cry laughing so hard at those books because they would do things in there that it was just wrong. And the best is like Batman has to play like the straight man, and it's hysterical. I mean, just hysterical. Like there's the one episode, there's the one issue that everybody talks about still even today, where literally Guy Gardner's like, all right, I've had enough, Batman. Me and you, mano a mano, 1-on-1. And Guy's taking off like his power ring. And all you see is Batman go, boom! And Gardner is down. One punch, boom, on the ground. And the best is Black Canary walks in and she's like, one punch. And I missed it? One punch? And then the irony is when he went to go get his ring, he got bit. It was under the table, so he got bit by a mouse. So he bit it. He bumped his head, so he had amnesia. So he became the opposite of what he normally was as Guy Gardner, which was hysterical. Because now Guy Gardner is this really sweet, wonderful, nice human being, and it's hysterical. But so I based Lou on that. But the all-time, and the reason I'm getting to this is the all-time most hilarious, and this is why you would have fit in really, really well. My all-time favorite was and we mixed a little DC with the game. For some strange reason, I can't remember why, we had to go to Arkham Asylum and we had to infiltrate. And
in a Marvel game.
It's Marvel superheroes. It doesn't matter. We can put anything in there you want. And literally, we're trying to infiltrate Arkham, and we're sitting here, and there's a door, and we're like, okay, what are we gonna do here? We try to pick the lock, we fail. We try to do this, we fail. We're sitting there, we're loudly fighting with each other and yelling at each other, and all the while we're supposed to be being quiet. And literally, the entire role-playing night is literally us versus the door, and we lost. We lost. There's still, I don't know if I know the Yahoo groups went bye-bye, but I think the archives are still there. I think have access to those archives. I should find you the logs for some of these. These are hysterical. But there's one time where we're in the Savage Lands and we're in this meeting and like Captain America's there and like Reed Richards is there and a whole bunch of people are there. And they all have these important, Reed Richards has all this stuff and he's looking at things and Nick Fury's looking at things and Luke pulls out his backpack and puts the piece of paper in and starts sharpening pencils.
Okay.
No, they're important.
Sharpening pencils.
Whoever's running the meeting is sitting there. It's in the middle. Lou's like, "Did you need some water?" No, Lou, I don't need any water. Oh, okay. Does anybody need water? Like I said, the only reason I mentioned this is because the only reason I went on this tangent is because I imagine this is what Ivan would look like if he was playing a role-playing game. I swear.
We know Ivan can tear up a board game once he learns the rules, but RPG is just without any knowledge of the base element of what you're doing and where, and not knowing the specifics. I think I could fit in spectacularly.
Oh, Ivan just has to roll. Ivan's character, I swear to God, Ivan could really just be Ivan. That could be the name of his character and just basically do Ivan.
No, Ivan. We know Ivan's character's name. We know that.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, he's not really Ivan. He's really Boba Fett in disguise.
So, do we have any news this week?
Yeah, actually we have some big news this week.
Right, we're running a little late, so we could just skim through it a little few.
Well, the irony is that we do have one really big piece of news.
Right.
And there's some other stuff too, and I'm trying to think off the top. There's a few things that we can skip to News of the Squared, I think, if we had to. But the biggest piece of news is that is the fact that Warner Brothers has basically announced that every movie they're releasing in 2021 is going to be simultaneously released on HBO Max,
along with whatever theaters that are open at the time.
Right, whatever theaters are open and available.
Right,
and
that's big news.
That's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking, that's Dune, that's Into the Heights, there's 17 films that are first running. Well, here. I'll pull it up here.
That is a big bunch of variety.
The article's on the Squares page.
Yeah, it is. I mean, this includes Matrix 4,
Whoa.
Dune, Lin-Manuel Miranda's In the Heights musical, the Sopranos prequel, the Suicide... I didn't realize Suicide Squad. Yeah, Suicide Squad.
Yep.
Godzilla vs. Kong.
The sequel to
there's a new
King of Monsters,
Right, there's a new Mortal Kombat coming.
Kombat.
The new Space Jam movie.
Wow.
Yeah, their entire slate is. Oh, I'm sorry, the Tom and Jerry remake.
Oh yeah, I did see some rushes on that. It looked pretty good,
Yeah, I thought it looked okay. But the point being is, I mean, that's
a lot of content.
Well,
I mean, for one studio, I think it might be less than normal for not being able to film anything this year. But for the movie industry, it's gonna maybe as a training wheels for hopefully getting the theater business back up.
Well, just to need a shot in the arm, yeah.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. I mean, so I'm of two minds of this, which is, look, it certainly doesn't help the theaters. I understand. At the same time, with the way things are going, look, at some point you have to release these movies. You can't just keep sitting on them. At some point you've got entire schedules of movies that, you have an entire slate of movies that basically didn't get seen in 2020 on top of all the things you were planning on releasing
I think
in
Wonder
2021.
I think Wonder Woman 84 had a press screening, I think, for the critics.
Yeah, I was going to get to that. The critics, and I'm seeing...
So I'm staying off Twitter so I don't get spoilers.
Oh, well, they're not spoiling. That's the good news. The good news, but everything I've seen from people is, you're in for a treat. It's great. Now, in fairness, we saw that about a few other movies in the beginning too. So we'll hold judgment. But again,
we'll look upon it with a tad bit of scrutiny.
Well, I mean, that's and again, here's the other thing. At this point, let's put this in perspective.
Okay.
All right. If now you're in a situation where you're going to have an option to hit Frontline Movies to come to HBO Max, that $15 price tag suddenly, $15 a month price tag suddenly doesn't sound nearly so expensive.
Okay, it puts more meat on the bone. Okay.
Right. Well, and in fairness, it's a huge shot in the arm.
Right.
To Warner, to AT&T, and this is going to be a big shot in the arm to them to get here's the question. How do you overcome Netflix? How do you overcome the big boys? How do you, I shouldn't say the big boys. How do you overcome people in the market who've been there for a while, like your Amazons and your Netflixes? Well, here's an answer, which is you release, obviously, look, they don't really want to do this, but at some point,
you've got to release this content.
You necessitating.
Got to get a return on that investment.
Right, exactly, because it's just dead money if it doesn't move.
Well, and like I said, I am absolutely fascinated to see how many people, what the numbers look like on for HBO Max on the 25th. And I don't know if I even caught this or not, because I know he wasn't on last week, but Ivan, they're gonna, not only are they putting Wonder Woman 84 in the theaters, it's gonna be on HBO Max on the 25th, on the same day.
Christmas Day.
And so, if you're in for example, in your Chicago area, let's be honest, some people are going to be willing to go to the movies. I'm sure where Mike is at, it's a little bit safer than where I'm at, right. or like where Ivan is. There was a part of me where I'm like, boy, I really do want to see Wonder Woman 84. I don't feel comfortable going into a movie theater. Well, okay, now I have this option. Literally, I'm kind of laughing because it's like, okay, I have something, it's funny because my mom's not a big superhero fan, but when she heard that we were going to have Wonder Woman on Christmas Day, she's like, okay, what time do we want to get the Chinese food? What time do you want to watch?
Yeah, that's cool.
Oh, wow, there you go.
That kind of thing, because, all Jewish
that's
people,
that's just
Chinese food and...
Yes. Well,
Chinese food, and the movies. You know what? You can't beat it.
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't mind having the Christmas dinner, but yeah, if you can't do that, Chinese food in a movie.
Sometimes, the simplest things are the best, dude. You know what I mean? And,
it's going to be different this year because I don't even know if we're going to have people over for Christmas Day.
Well, we already know our situation. We're not getting together for Christmas, but Mom has gone digital. My mom has got a new phone, and my niece is busy teaching her all the little tricks of the trade. Pretty soon, I'll be able to FaceTime with my mom. Oh boy,
that's good.
And that makes me feel good because now I got this 24/7 connection, and it'll be just like, well, if she needs of anything, she can get me right away. And the fact that now, because every time I used to go over to the house, it was always like, oh, ask Google this, or let's find out about that, or I'm looking for this particular thing. She'd be fascinated by me talking to the phone, and the phone would answer, and she's like, oh my gosh, so now they're getting her into the digital age. Here it is, 86 years old. And just goes to show you're never too old to learn.
Yep. A few other pieces of note. I'm going to kind of run through them fast.
Okay.
So, Deadline has come out with David Ramsey, who played John Diggle in the Arrow series, aka Spartan, is going to be directing episodes across the DC universe in the CW. But what's most interesting is apparently he is supposed to be playing a mystery role in DC's Legends of Tomorrow that's being kept under wraps. Well, if you've seen Arrow, and I'm sorry if you haven't seen it by now, it's been a while, so forgive me, but at the end of Arrow, John Diggle gets the Green Lantern ring, and so there are a lot of people hoping we're going to get to see a Green Lantern on TV. So we'll see if that happens.
Yeah, didn't they tease that?
They did. That's what I said. At the end of the season, they had it where, he basically, where it falls out of the sky and literally there's John Diggle right there, and then he picks up the ring. And there's a lot of people who are really excited, but we thought we're not going to see anything with it, but it looks like we might see something. According to this, the Academy Awards are not going to be going Zoom. They're going to be in person, although I'm questioning what exactly they're going to...
I'm sure they'll just have, pre-COVID tests and pre-quarantine and temperature checks at the red carpet, maybe.
I'm more thinking, what movies?
Yeah, not a lot of content. Not a lot of films came out.
Unless you start talking streaming, I don't know what's really big.
What's really there to put together? There's not a lot of content, so if you don't got a lot of content, how do you justify?
And this is the time of year when we'd get all the Oscar bait.
Yeah.
And we got none of that this year.
Yeah. Like I said,
I'm kind of happening. So I think it's going to be a lame year for that particular type of activity because there wasn't a lot of releases, not a lot of activity. So what do you have really?
Yeah. So there's some rumors about Spider-Man 3 that continue to be out there about that we'll see Tom Holland, we'll see Andrew Garfield, and we'll see Tobey Maguire all in the same movie.
Sure.
And all playing Spider-Man as kind of a multiverse thing. There's still rumors out there, and there was supposedly some sort of leak out there about something that might have leaked it, but nobody's 100% sure. There's some people who are like, my reaction is, I'm all for it. I would love to see it. I think there's, and if we could figure out a way to get Miles Morales, that's great too. Let's have all four. And by the way, if you want to figure out a way to get an animated Spider-Ham in that, I'm all for that too. So,
Wow.
in a live action. But, let's see. There's talk of folding Hulu into Disney Plus, which would be interesting.
Yeah.
So the other thing is DC has supposedly got somebody who's working on a script for a Plastic Man movie, but here's the twist. They're talking about making it more like Plastic Woman.
All right.
Ooh. I see.
Well, maybe Plastic Man will be, I don't know, transgender.
I don't know. Well, actually, that'd be interesting. It's funny because Plastic Man could do that. That would be interesting.
I mean,
basically, we just
he
didn't
could change
know.
shape and anything he wanted.
Right, and we just didn't know if he was a man or a woman.
The last thing I remember watching the old Plastic Man Hanna-Barbera cartoon back in the day, voiced by Michael Bell, I think it was. But anyway, but there was the Plastic Man had an episode in Batman Brave and the Bold where what you call it a montage with no dialogue of how Plastic Man got into his accident and got his powers, and Batman was there during his rehabilitation as he learned how to control his powers. And that was like, wow, it's like this is like a dramatic moment for Plastic Man here I'm watching. So
there's been in the last 20 years, there's been some really interesting groundwork done on Plastic Man, and some of it kind of got shelved by the wayside, which is unfortunate. Plastic Man for a period of time in Grant Morrison's Justice League, and that was at the time when they relaunched and really made Justice League a big thing again. Plastic Man was one of the members of Justice League at the time, and it was a really popular move. And the other thing that was interesting was when Joe Kelly took over, he wrote some really interesting pieces about Plastic Man having a kid, and then there's an entire thing about where something happened where Plastic Man was back in the past and got shattered across the ocean, okay, and he basically had been there for like thousands of years.
Whoa.
And got re-put back together, but basically the long and the short of it is that, that basically Plastic Man is kind of like invulnerable, or like, can't really be killed, if you understand what I mean by that.
Right.
He could be killed.
Because essentially he was basically in little pieces under the ocean for like thousands of years.
Took him all that long to put him together, get himself put back together.
Well, people scooping him back together again so he can put himself back together. And it's funny because after that he takes a leave of absence because it's like, okay, I'm a little fucked up right now.
Wow.
Okay. I see.
It was something having to do. It had something to do with an Atlantis thing, and I can't remember what. It's something I want to call it was Obsidian Age or something. It was a Justice League storyline, but yeah.
Interesting.
Trying to think. Like I said, there was a period there where there was some good Justice League.
Yeah,
stories
it seemed
in
like,
that.
but it seemed like they were using Plastic Man as an excuse to be like just like DC's answer to Deadpool or another type of Harley Quinn kind of whimsical storyline. But if you say there was some meat on the bones with some of these other storytellers for him, then that's great. Good on him.
Yeah, it's funny. You know who really wants to do a Plastic Man?
What needs to be known about it is what it is.
You know who really wants to do a Plastic Man series, if I remember correctly, and that'll be interesting if at some point he gets around to doing it, is Brian Bendis.
Okay.
Who is like one of the big writers for DC right now. So it'd be interesting. Rob Liefeld is back for the 30th anniversary of Deadpool. Just don't let him draw feet. And then I'm sure Mike will be happy about this. Next month, Cobra Kai, Season 3.
Hooray! Awesome.
All right.
Can't wait. Got to find out what happened to Miguel.
My understanding is I've heard rumblings about they're bringing back the Japanese guy.
Yeah, they're going back to Okinawa. Yeah.
That they're bringing some of those characters back from...
part?
No. He's dead. I mean, in canon, Mr. Miyagi's dead.
Right.
Danny went to Mr. Miyagi's grave. So,
right.
Yeah, in canon, he's dead. I've heard this season, they're going to Japan. So I presume they're going back to that town they were in Karate Kid 2.
Right, and I guess that guy who he beats at the end of the Karate Kid 2 is probably going to be a part of things, and I think that's what they're bringing back in. So.
Yeah. Ooh, that'd be cool.
There's some stories that obviously are more news to the squared stories. Although I will say, I think this is a good place to end. I guess Variety mentioned something from Nielsen about top 10 streaming shows, and I thought it was interesting to take a look at who they are. This is apparently from October 26th.
Okay.
And the top, and again, this is just streaming. The most streamed thing was Queen's Gambit, followed by The Office, of all things.
Okay.
Mandalorian. Hold on a second. Okay, I don't want your ad. Go away.
Gotta get that pop-up blocker, man.
I did. Okay, yeah. Now, it's always amusing when it's like, okay, that's not what I wanted. Not now. Go away. You're bugging me. You're bugging me, Smiles. You're bugging me. Sorry, I'm trying to pull it up. So, Queen's Gambit, I said. The Office, of all things. Mandalorian, followed by The Mandalorian, Schitt's Creek, something called Holiday from Netflix, Grey's Anatomy reruns from Netflix.
What?
Criminal Minds from Netflix, NCIS from Netflix, and then something called The Haunting of Bly Manor from Netflix, and then The Great British Baking Show on Netflix. So a lot of Netflix stuff is high streaming stuff, but it looks like it's all about Queen's Gambit and.
Yeah, that seems to be the big one. I've heard a lot of people talking about it. I've seen
someone photoshopped a picture of the Queen of England holding an X-Men comic, saying, "Oh, I never saw the Queen's Gambit."
Oh, yeah. Took a second. Okay.
Took you, yeah.
Oh boy, yeah. Ooh, wow. There's one other thing I really want to bring up, but this is such a News of the Squared show story that.
Let's go to then we'll.
Yeah, no. It's just one of those ones where I'm looking at it and I'm going, man, I cannot wait to talk about this on News of the Squared. Because literally, this could be our whole show for News of the Squared.
Okay.
I'm not kidding.
It's not the Iron Sheik's Twitter account again, is it?
No. There's some news that came out right before we went and did the show. We went to go record the show that I'm telling you.
New meat.
I'm telling you. It's just. I just don't. We'll get to it. It's a big tease.
He's twittering in his toes there, Mike. Let's.
I'm telling you, when you see, maybe we should start there for the show. But anyway, all right, Mike. Unless we got something else.
Oh, I've got a couple more things I want to point out. They dropped another trailer for the Transformers Netflix series, Earthrise, the sequel to The Siege. That got dropped today. And tomorrow, which would be, we're recording on the 7th, which is obviously the day that will live in infamy. But 40 years ago tomorrow, John Lennon was shot.
That's right.
And it's like, that's like our generation's Buddy Holly and the Big Bopper moment. Mm-hmm. Like, I was like, obviously I was like 9 years old, so I was kind of, and I knew the Beatles. I was aware of them because I used to watch the old cartoon on Channel 44.
Right.
But I remember I was downstairs and we had the tree up and the news all over the TV that John Lennon was shot. Like,
I was in my 20s. And
I was like around the same age Mike was. Yeah. So for me, it was like, it wasn't I'll be honest, for me, I mean, it was impactful.
Yeah.
For me, it's always going to be Kurt Cobain.
No. Well,
because really, in reality, that's around the time frame when I was in my 20s, and that was.
Well, yeah. Well, Kurt Cobain. I was aware of Kurt Cobain and that whole. And there was a while there where a lot of them were leaving. Frontmen of bands and such. It just.
I was 6 when Elvis died in 1977.
I was 17. I was 16, and I was in the hospital with pneumonia when I saw it on the news.
Wow. But yeah, John Lennon has been 40 years now. Holy crap.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, I was.
I don't want to leave the show on a.
Yeah, I was going to say, wow. Imagine that.
Yeah.
No, it just got you to think, though. Okay, yeah. Well, hey.
Time is fleeting, so enjoy things as we have them now. And it's going to get better.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, just take a jump to the left.
That's right. And then step to the right.
Well, that's the first thing I have when you said time is fleeting.
We're on Instagram and Twitter at SOTRT Podcast. We're on YouTube. Click the bell, subscribe, to get new content. You can download the show on your usual podcast hosting platforms, i.e. Google, Apple, Spotify, Anchor. Now, and there's some other lesser-known ones. I checked our analytics, and there's a lot of lesser-known podcasts. So if you go to the Anchor, they can tell you other formats. Ivan is on Twitch.tv. That's Java and Ivan. Jeff is on Steinamite Productions. And, of course, you can see all our crazy news stories, read along with us on the Squares Roundtable Facebook page for our other show, News of the Square. That'll be out later in the week. Mm-hmm. Send us an email, sotrtpodcast@gmail.com. Wishing everyone a happy holiday season. Happy Hanukkah, Jeff.
Mm-hmm. Happy Hanukkah. Thank you. Happy Merry Christmas. And yeah, because we're gonna be off for. Did we mention that we're gonna be off for 2 weeks?
We'll be back the last week of just before New Year's. We'll be back.
Yeah. Really, in reality, we're basically talk about Wonder Woman pretty much,
and
right?
the season 2 finale of Mandalorian. I'll be sure to discuss that.
It's funny. Yeah. I might binge all that fast enough.
Yeah, binge it now.
Talk about it.
Do it now. Come on. Get the Toga Man. Get the doll.
That is basically my dirty pleasure Christmas movie. Is Jingle All the Way. I'm not gonna. You know what? I may have to watch that movie. I may have to watch it.
I'm gonna have to watch it.
Prancer, blah, 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 blah.
It's like when he's trying to remember the names of the Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen, Yeah. So Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yes, and Bobo Fett will be with you.
Happy Hanukkah.
He's no good to me, Dad.
What?